Welcome to the EverBiz Daily Podcast.
Glad to be here.
We're jumping straight into a look at some significant moves and reports from major South African companies you flagged.
Yeah, quite a mix today. We've got financials, strategic plays, results.
Everything from new instruments to earnings reports. So let's dive in. Where do we start?
Let's kick off with Standard Bank. They've listed a new financial instrument, SBN 51.
Okay, what is that exactly?
Well, they're basically notes where the return is linked to how certain stock market indexes perform. These ones mature in February 2026.
Interesting, and this is a big issue.
This specific one is ZRR 225 million. But the bigger picture is it brings the total under this particular program to around ZRR 112 billion.
Wow, that's substantial. Out of an authorized ZAR 150 billion, right?
Exactly. It really shows the scale of their activity in these structured investment products.
Definitely a major player there. Okay, moving on. Renergen got some good news.
Yes, a key win for them. That appeal concerning their helium rights in the Virginia gas project, it was dismissed. So that clears things up for them.
It really does. It ends that long debate and, protects their ability to actually commercialize what could be a very significant helium reserve.
So they can focus purely on production now?
Pretty much. Positioning them as potentially South Africa's key helium and natural gas producer. It's a big step forward, especially with other recent rulings also going their way.
Good for them. Now, Altron's results, you mentioned strong profit growth.
Yeah, quite impressive, actually. Audited results for the year ending Feb 28th showed a notable jump in profitability, particularly from their platforms segment.
Even though revenue was kind of flat.
Well, overall revenue was flat at R9.6 billion, but it was up 3% if you exclude the ATM business they sold off.
Right. So the underlying business grew.
Exactly. And the key figures really stand out. EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, was up 27%. Operating profit up 50%.
50%. That's significant.
Huge. And AGPS up 73%, EPS up 64%. They even increased the final dividend by 52% to 50 cents a share.
That signals a lot of confidence. It certainly does. Strong performance from Netstar and Altron FinTech helped drive that.
Okay. Quickly touching on SuperDrive Investments, some board changes there.
Yeah, a couple of resignations and new appointments. Mr. Brendan Harmsey and Mrs. Roseanne Kamali are coming in, or shifting roles in Ms. Kamali's case.
Bringing specific experience.
Seems so. Harms has capital markets and structured finance background. Kamali has legal, compliance, securitization experience. Could signal maybe a strategic shift for the debt issuer. Worth watching.
Got it. And Glencore. Share buybacks.
Yep, the global resources giant. They bought back about 3.25 million of their own shares on the London Stock Exchange just recently.
Standard practice for them? Or
it's part of their ongoing program. They hold these shares in treasury. It reduces the number of shares out there, which can, help support the share price and boost earnings per share. Good for shareholder value.
Makes sense. Okay, Pick and Pay, you said much improved results.
Definitely a much better picture than the previous year. Turnover increased by 5.6% to R118.6 billion for the 53 weeks ended March 2nd.
And the loss?
Significantly reduced. The loss before tax and capital items came down to R237 million from a R1.4 billion loss in FY24.
That's a massive turnaround.
It is. The main Pick and Pay segment reduced its trading loss, and Boxer continued its strong growth. Plus, they completed that recapitalization.
Yes, strengthening the balance sheet. And the CEO is staying on longer.
Correct. Sean Summers' tenure extended to May 2028 seems like a move to ensure stability during this recovery phase. They're aiming for break-even in the main segment by FY28 now.
Okay, African Bank also showing positive signs.
Yeah, their interim results for the 6 months to March 31st, net profit after tax up 15% to R202 million.
What's driving that?
Their diversification seems to be paying off. Net advances grew 20%, with business and commercial lending up a huge 49%. Their funding base is growing, capital looks adequate, showing green shoots, as they've put it.
Green shoots, I like that. Now, a potentially big move from Hyprop Investments.
Yes, this could be significant. They've announced plans for a capital raise here in South Africa.
To fund what?
Potentially to acquire a controlling stake in MAS P.L.C.
MAS, the Eastern European property player.
That's the one. It would be a major expansion for Hyprop into that region. They're proposing a voluntary bid to MAS shareholders, offering Hyprop shares or cash.
A bold move.
Very. Signals a clear strategic intent to grow and diversify geographically.
Let's quickly run through a few others. Investec.
Another debt listing. New senior unsecured floating rate credit-linked notes, IVC 350, are $100 million issue. Fairly standard activity for them, raising funds, offering investment products.
That's scum. Any ratings news?
Fitch affirmed their long-term local currency rating at B, stable outlook. Importantly, they revised the standalone credit profile upward slightly to CCC+,
Reflecting.
improved operations basically, and better expected earnings, though the rating is still tied closely to South Africa's sovereign rating.
Right. And a few smaller items. KAL Group incentives, DBSA policy updates, ArcelorMittal AGM results.
Yeah, the usual corporate governance stuff. KAL directors getting share options, DBSA tightening its PPP policy, ArcelorMittal confirming AGM votes, and their level 7 BBBE rating.
Paxton's odd lot offer finalized.
Yes, price set at R14.28 per share, dates announced, just cleaning up their share register, dealing with small holdings.
And finally, some director dealings at Kumba and Implats.
Standard disclosures. A Kumba subsidiary selling forfeited shares from an employee plan, and Implats executives selling some shares after getting clearance. Transparency on insider activity.
Okay, so that's a whirlwind tour.
Quite a lot happened.
So if you pull it all together for our listeners, what's the takeaway? We've seen major strategic plays like Hyprop buying MAS, solid financial updates from Altron, recovery signs at Pick and Pay.
And continued activity in the financial markets from the big banks like Standard and Investec, plus ongoing governance and operational updates across the board.
It really paints a picture of a dynamic landscape, doesn't it? Companies actively managing finances, looking for growth, dealing with regulations, engaging shareholders.
Absolutely, it's never static.
So for you listening, you've got this snapshot. Think about how these different pieces, the buybacks, the potential M&A, the earnings beats, the debt issues might connect. What stands out to you as the most significant trend or development?
Yeah, that's the real question to ponder as you keep tracking these players.